let's talk character. Who are you? What are you doing?
I'm trying to figure that out. I've only done not even 2 episodes yet, so I'm trying to figure out this guy. It's Theo Yedler, the surgeon that's dropped in the middle of Wayward Pines. So, I don't have any definitive ideas about who he is or where he's going, because I think that was one of the interesting things about choosing to do the project. I've always been attracted to characters in movies that are at some primal moment that's going to determine who they are, their character, one way or the other. And this is an opportunity to do that with a guy who has to decide who he is. In his past, we all rely on our past. Now he probably doesn't have a past in his mind. And certainly the way I'm playing the first few episodes, he does not believe where he is. He does not believe anybody else. But ultimately you get to a place in your life or in his life where you have to accept who you are, where you are, because you're still alive. And so that's what I'm dealing with, just moment by moment. So I can't definitively say, other than he's a surgeon, who he is or anything thematically about him.
How does that play into the Civil War that's kind of happening that he's dropped into?
I think, at times when I talk to the writers with certain things, when I feel that things need to be changed or specified, is forget about the science fiction aspect. It's just, someone was picked up, knocked out, and brought behind enemy lines in Nazi Germany, and all of a sudden there's this world that exists and you can't get out of. And so I look at it that way, and I think that's just more interesting. The science fiction movies or supernatural movies that I've liked and thought worked were ones where people were not playing into the supernatural aspect, but they were just trying to find a reason for anything that's happening and emotionally attacking that. And that's what I'm trying to do. I think that if you get bound up in the idea of it or the hardware of science fiction, you're like everybody else. So, and that's not that interesting.
What other characters have you interacted with so far?
I have interacted with the guy, this kid Jason, who's played by Thomas, who leads the establishment, or whatever they're called. Carrie, his right-hand person, this Nimrod, who plays my wife, and just a few other characters here and there. A lot of it's Theo by himself. They're marching around at this point. It's a doctor who's this brilliant, renowned surgeon who all of a sudden is, taking out a tongue depressor and looking at people's tonsils. So everything about his whole life is shifting.
When you were first casted as his character, and you got to watch Wayward Pines and see the twist and turn.
I didn't watch any of it.
Oh, you haven't watched? Yeah. So how did he tell you about this character when he first tried to recruit you for that?
No problem. You're about to say. I watched the pilot. They told me what happened with this character. Since he was dropped in the middle of Wayward Pines, I didn't think there's any reason for me to watch all of it, because then I would be influenced by the thoughts and all those other things. So I wanted to do it as naturally as I could experience it every moment. So that's why. And now, John.
And Djimon, can you talk a little bit about your character on this season?
Yes, I play CJ Mitchell, and I've been described as the duster of Wayward Pines, and then he comes out of animated leave every 20 years and sort of basically takes care of all the major infrastructure of Wayward Pines. But I must agree on one of your comments. I think sometimes we tend to try to do too much of research, this and that, which none of them really means anything other than where you exist at that moment in time. I just wanted to add that.
And that's a fresh, interesting thing to do, because it doesn't happen in movies, and I've made television before. But in movies, you want to immerse yourself as much as your character as possible, get as much research and understanding. But this just makes some decisions who you are as a person that satisfies that character, and then just go with what's in front of you.
Moving into a new house with a new neighborhood that you don't know, and you just have to acclimate yourself.
Well, don't we exist like that?
Right.
We live every day. I just started a new show, and he's my buddy on the new show now. We don't have a history before. We're starting the history now.
Yeah, it's interesting to do that because everything's so predetermined with expectations. That's another nice thing. Also, I think this first year had whatever success it's had, so and that's fine. But it's not as if you have to create an expectation. It's there, and now we're going to live in a world that some people saw and other people hopefully will see for the first time.
CJ's the historian of Wayward Pines, so does that mean that CJ knows all the secrets of Wayward Pines?
Yeah, that would imply that.
That confirmation.
Yes. I mean, certainly that's that's how I got. That's how maybe CJ Mitchell was described.
So, well, how is, because there's been the different resets of Wayward Pines when they had the failed experiments, and then now we had this new reset, and the first generation's kind of taken over. So, how is the new first generation different than what had come before?
That's a question. I don't know how this well.
I mean, will we see that through your character, or no?
I just started this week.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, there's a lot that I'm also trying to comprehend, and I'm not quite sure where I sort of have an idea where I exist, but I'm not quite sure all my interactions with I'm not quite sure about it.
That's fair. Thank you.
Speaking of TV, what was it? Was there something more cinematic about this show that made you guys want to do TV as opposed to having mostly film careers?
Well, I think TV personally, I think this past decade, TV has proven to be quite, great writers, and certainly they have an ability of creating that world very quickly and establishing a world for the audience very quickly. I'm sorry, I lost it.
That's okay.
What was that question?
Just about coming to TV, because I think most of your fans might know you all as film actors as opposed to television.
But I think indirectly, I think TV also offers you a platform in which you really can when you're doing a film, you're doing that film, and it's that theme that you're exploring in the film. But when you're doing TV, you explore so many different themes, through making, telling a TV.
Can you guys?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's much more cinematic. I mean, it's certainly showed night and what they had set up before, what they want to now. This year, like, it will be even more cinematic. And I found it, indecipherable from the movies I've done. Just equipment-wise, look-wise, and everything else. It's the same. It gives you more opportunity.